Local officials are starting to plan for spring road projects, and winter can be a tough season for seniors. We have tips on how to get through the rest of the winter. Plus, we get a look at sports with Brenna McCoubry. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, February 13th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. Spring is just around the corner, and that means the Cape Cod Commission is getting ready for spring road projects. The Joint Transportation Committee will meet tomorrow. Technical Services Director Glenn Cannon says the committee is made up of DPW directors from each Cape town.
Some town planners come to this also. We have a bicycle advocate, and they come together as a technical group to assist the Metropolitan Planning Organization for what projects are going to be put into the Transportation Improvement Program. Those are the projects that actually get built. And every year we have that TIP program to make sure these projects are ready, make sure they're moving forward. It is the JTC who makes sure that these projects are ready to go.
Cannon says while the process is extensive, it is a very important one.
It's amazing to me how much detail is required to go into these plans to get these projects moving and get them done. So the DPW directors do a great job of that. And they're also learning from each other. It's also a time for them to come together to see what other towns are doing, what MassDOT is doing, so they can bring that back to their town.
Cannon says during tomorrow's meeting, the committee will unveil plans for the reconstruction of Route 28 and Yarmouth Road in Hyannis.
I like to refer to it as Phase 1 of the Hyannis Access Study, the project we worked on a number of years ago, in cooperation certainly with the town, the region, and with MassDOT. So this is the first project to move forward out of that planning process and to see what's going to happen at Route 28 and Yarmouth Road, which are substantial changes. There's a significant widening of Yarmouth Road there, a significant widening of Route 28, impacts to properties, so there are significant impacts from that project.
Cannon says the intersection is a very busy one and needs improvements as a matter of public safety.
We should always start with the safety impact there, and particularly with the access to the Cape Cod Hospital. I always thought that was the most important aspect of this intersection, is that they don't have the Opticom system there, so when the ambulance comes down Yarmouth Road, he can't press the button so it turns green so he can safely maneuver through that intersection. Right. That is, I think, the most significant thing that's happening there. On congestion side, maybe the biggest thing is going to be on Route 28 heading towards Yarmouth. There's going to be dual left turns to get into Yarmouth Road. Exactly. That left turn backs up for a significant portion, well over a mile, sometimes back into the rotary itself. So that dual left turn is going to reduce a lot of that congestion. There's also going to be a significant widening of Yarmouth Road, which will include removing the CAM appliance building. I mean, they're really widening that out. They're going to put a raised median in there, 2 lanes in each direction. Wow. The left turn lane on Yarmouth Road. Kind of setting the stage for, Yarmouth Road really needs to be a 4-lane roadway with a raised median, very similar to what they have in Yarmouth. At Exit 7, they're going to try to connect those eventually. But that's going to have significant congestion relief there for Yarmouth Road, which, again, could back up for miles.
Cannon says reconstruction plans are not yet final and will go through a few changes over the next year or so.
There's always tweaks and design changes that happen. One of the most significant things that's going to happen at this intersection is Yarmouth Road and Camp Street, south of Route 28, which is a low-volume roadway, but very confusing for the average motorist. We heard a lot about that during the process. So they're going to be changing that intersection around. There are always changes you can make. Minor adjustments, I would say.
Exactly.
But, we do have a date for a shovel in the ground. I believe it's 2016.
The transportation meeting will be held tomorrow morning at the Cape Cod Commission at 8:30. Cannon says another project on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting is improvements to Route 28 in Centerville near the Bell Tower Mall.
Come this spring, we're going to come into the town of Barnstable and talk to the residents in the town of Barnstable and the business owners and bring them together to see if we can come up with some kind of approved plan for Route 28 in that Centerville area. It's historically been a place of high crash locations, a lot of accidents. I know there were a number of fatal accidents out there, which are always a concern to us. So we want to just reach out to the folks there, start doing that initial planning, see what can be done out there, what changes can be made, and what can be implemented.
The first meeting about that project will be held March 17th. For more information on all of these projects, you can visit capecodcommission.org. We are all getting a little tired of the snow and ice we've seen this winter, but those common annoyances can be hazardous for senior citizens. Assistant Director for the Senior Center, Donna Marie Burns, says now is the time for all of us to think about our neighbors.
Falls are a big issue for seniors, and given the nature of the snow and ice, it's a time that many seniors are concerned about and worried about. And what I'd say to seniors in particular, pay attention to the weather forecast. If it looks like we're going to have some bad weather, plan accordingly. If you have errands to run, try to get them in before the bad weather strikes, and make sure that you have the essentials that you need in the event that you have a power outage. So just be aware of the weather conditions. And if you do find that you have to go out, dress accordingly. Loose layers, make sure that you're properly dressed, hat, gloves, scarf, and minimize your time outside if at all possible. What I would also say to neighbors that perhaps have seniors that live nearby, this is a great time to be a good neighbor. Removing snow and ice is difficult for anyone of any age, and in particular for seniors, it can really be a difficult and almost impossible task.
Winter can also feel a little restrictive. Burns says to avoid cabin fever, seniors can take advantage of some great upcoming workshops at the Senior Center.
We have actually a workshop that was extremely popular when this instructor came around last summer. It's about angels. And there are many people that feel that they have a connection to angels in their life, people that have been in their, perhaps in their past, and many people feel that they have angels around them 24/7. Sharon Anderson came last year, as I said, and this was a standing room only workshop. And to a person, every single person that came out just really raved about what a wonderful experience it was. And whether you believe or not, I think you might learn something. So that is February 20th at 1 p.m. here at the Senior Center. It's free. And we have an author coming in, Marguerite Morris Willis, and she'll be giving a talk about a grandmother's essays on education. And she is not your regular grandma. She is a former 30-year school committee member, a longtime elected town government official, and she is quite a colorful person. She drives a truck, she's an EMT, and she's passionate about education, and she's written a book to share her perspectives on education. It sounds like it'll be interesting. So those are both free. The author talk is February 18th at 2 p.m. For all of our free events, we do ask that you just give us a call here at 508-862-4750 just to sign up so we have a count.
To learn more about these programs, visit town.barnstable.ma.us. Now it's time to get a look at sports with Brenna McCoubry.
Good afternoon, Barnstable. I'm Brenna McCoubry, here to bring you the latest on National and Red Raiders sports. Starting today is the NBA All-Star Weekend. All of your favorite national basketball teams are down in New Orleans for a variety of skills competitions, games, and lots of media coverage on the history of the game. You can tune into TNT or NBA TV to follow the best athletes of the National Basketball Association. Taking a look at Barnstable High School sports, last night the girls' varsity ice hockey team had their Pink in the Rink game in memory of Caroline Fries. The girls were able to get the 4-3 win over Whitman Hanson for Caroline and her family. Though the game tonight is canceled against Notre Dame Academy, the Lady Raiders still qualify for the state tournament. Over on the other sheet of ice last night at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center, the boys' varsity ice hockey team fell to Marshfield 5-0. Tomorrow night, the boys' JV basketball team is home hosting Dartmouth at 5. Also home at 6:30, the boys' varsity basketball team will have their senior night versus Dartmouth. The girls' JV and varsity basketball teams will be on the road to Dartmouth. JV will begin at 5 and varsity at 6:30. That's all for now here on Barnstable Today. I'm Brenna McCoubry.
Thanks for tuning in. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.